everybody, this is Blade from the Hidden Blade channel, and today I'm going to be talking a little bit about why I think Nintendo should start capitalizing more on Amiibo. Amiibo were Nintendo's big craze back in the day. They were one of the Toys to Life competitors, along with Skylanders, LEGO Dimensions, and Disney Infinity. Nintendo wouldn't use them the most, they usually only had small capability in certain games. But to really understand the history of Amiibo, we're gonna have to understand why are these things so cool, and that's what this video is about. So in November of 2014, Nintendo launched Amiibo, which were tiny Toys to Life figures and statues of your favorite characters. They launched the Smash Bros. Series, which has been their biggest series ever since, and is still going on today with Smash Bros. Characters who are DLC fighters getting Amiibo still. Most Amiibo usually only had about one or two capabilities, but there were some later on that really were just exploding with possibilities. I know there are certain Amiibo that have over 20 games compatibility, which is quite insane. The Smash Bros. Wave was made for Smash Bros. For Wii U and Smash Bros. For 3DS, both coming out on their respective consoles, the Wii U and 3DS. The Amiibo were able to be tapped onto the gamepad of the Wii U and would scan into a game as an NPC, and you could level it up and train it to fight along you in battle, which is a neat concept. For $13, you get something to do during an afternoon. And once you get them to a high enough level, they will start destroying you depending on how good you trained your Amiibo. This is a neat concept. On 3DS, you would just touch it on the bottom screen if you had a new 3DS. If you didn't, you'd need an NFC reader that would adapt into your 3DS and scan the Amiibo. And then Smash Bros. Wave 2 dropped. This is where the Amiibo shortages and issues really started, as certain characters were limited to certain stores and also were only able to be found in very, very limited quantities. So if you wanted it, you had to better find it. Otherwise, you would have to get one that was being heavily scalped on eBay. I know one of them, Wii Fit Trainer, went for over $80, which is quite ridiculous when you really think. This is just a figurine that can help you in certain games. That's all this is, and this is a $13 toy in the US, which was also where most of the Amiibo issues were. Most people outside of the US and North America were able to get their hands on many Amiibo, and many of them being scalped were from different countries entirely. After a couple more Smash Bros. Wave released, in March 20th of 2015, the Super Mario series was created, featuring Mario, Luigi, Peach, Yoshi, Bowser, and Toad as the figures that released for Wave 1 of this series. These were made to go along with Mario Party 10 and the 3DS games on Mario Party 3DS. After this, they started releasing Amiibo cards for Animal Crossing Happy Home Designer, which was a game where you were able to build your own house, but you need Amiibo cards so that way you could scan them in and unlock certain characters. At E3 2015, on a Nintendo Direct, Bowser and Donkey Kong Amiibo were revealed, which were for Skylanders, one of the direct competitors to Amiibo, which both of those figures, the Donkey Kong and Bowser figures, both counted as an Amiibo and a Skylander. They had a switch on the bottom, which allowed you to change depending on what you wanted them to do. Luckily for Nintendo, these Amiibo cards and Super Mario Party figures were not being as heavily scalped as the Super Smash Bros. Ones, which this issue still was continuing on, even at the time of these other Amiibo, because of things like retailer exclusive. This was the first ever third-party Amiibo, Shovel Knight, who was made for a game that came out on 3DS and Wii U. It was not available to be used with any other game other than Shovel Knight for Wii U and 3DS. These were the third-party first amiibos though, which was pretty cool. Sadly, Nintendo does not really utilize their amiibo as much anymore, which I'm probably going to make a second video to this, which is explaining why I think Nintendo should capitalize on amiibo more. This was just kind of a refresher for anybody who didn't know exactly what an amiibo was. Nintendo doesn't really utilize these things anymore, and personally, I want that to change. Thank you for watching, everybody. This has been Blade from the HiddenBlade channel. And remember to like, comment, and subscribe. And I'll see you eventually. Bye!